You're an Insta360 fan? Fanboy?
I'm a fan.
Sort of?
I'm a fangirl.
Are you?
No, I'm a camera fan. I like companies that do interesting things with their cameras because, I mean, we've probably talked about this a million times. Every camera is good.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was just showing you clips from my 2011 C100. So,
which is awesome.
Yeah, to make a camera, like, actually interesting, it either needs to have specs so far beyond anything we've ever heard of, or it's got to do something else to make it unique.
Right. So the this guy, the Insta, it's still kind of funny that it's Insta360
and not 360.
Yeah.
So many comments like, is this 360 or not? Yeah.
Because really, when you look at their cameras, at this point in time, there's probably more non-360 cameras.
Yeah. And you have your 1RS is over here.
Yeah.
I've got one here.
Yeah.
The only times that I can think of that I've really seen these out in the wild are in 360 mode.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to see the 1RS or a 1R with the 360 mod.
For sure.
Out.
Yeah.
So 360s, yeah, really.
And they're really that, you know, I think at least that the GoPro kind of came in with their 360 Max, but couldn't compete.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, so Josh has Josh works out of here.
Yeah.
He has a Max as well.
Yeah.
And he likes it. I think honestly, if you compare it with like an X3, they're not that different. They both have like similar amounts of noise and color and low light performance and stitchability. It's fine. My guess is why GoPro hasn't pushed it anymore is I think maybe they're both at a little bit of a ceiling, a technological limit currently as far as heat goes, especially because like this is, let's leave it on here. This is the 1-inch one, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason it's so thick isn't just the size, it's just cooling, right? Because it's hard enough to cool a full frame sensor or any sensor really, but then you take that sensor and you put it back to back with another one doing the same thing.
Right.
It's gonna get hot.
Yeah.
Increase the resolution, the bit rate, anything. It's gonna be pretty hard.
Well, look at the what was it the company that made the 360, that Kuku or whatever it was?
Yeah.
That camera was massive.
Or it was big.
It was big.
Yeah,
right?
And that one did 8K. Yeah, and they
Nobody
really went for
used it.
I think they really only aimed it at like real estate or something like that. People doing house tours.
Yeah, I thought it had a lot of issue with low light. It had a lot of issues with its stitching ability. So the Ace. The Ace Pro.
Yeah, I've never used an Ace.
The Ace Pro.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Here, let's hide this GoPro. It's not even here.
Not even here.
Yeah.
So let's look at the GoPro.
Fine, let's look.
Well, let's look at the GoPro.
Yeah.
And let's look at, like me, someone that actually uses the RS.
Yep.
I'm actually one of the few people that use RS in its 4K.
Yeah, in the proper way. Yeah.
Yeah, I use it because I have an X2.
Yep.
Because I didn't go to an X3 because I really didn't see them being big enough difference.
Yeah.
X2 works fine. So I use the 4K on that. That camera there with the 360 costs less than the Ace Pro. So for a lot of people, do they go and get a dual lens setup for less money to try it out, or do they jump and just be like, I want an action camera, that's the best one out there?
It's so hard to answer. Let's grab this again.
Yeah.
Because this camera really sold, I think, on its like value proposition. It's like, this is like less than a GoPro or whatever, but you can buy it in a kit with both like the single lens, or you take it apart, if I remember how, take it apart and put it on a 360, right?
Right.
The thing about that is the 360 that you're going to get out of this is pretty similar to like the X2, X3, I think, right?
Yeah. Same resolution, 5.7K.
Yeah, it'd probably be the same sensors, same lenses, even really. Slightly less optimal position for the selfie stick, right? Because it's not directly under it. But it's good, and I find like this is a more than good enough action camera, a more than good enough 360 camera. It's not the best at either one of those.
Right.
Right? Whereas if you were to take an Ace Pro and like a 1-inch RS 360 camera, it's better at both of those and way more expensive. Right? Probably triple the price of just going this option.
Right. Yeah.
So you're always kind of dealing with like the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Right? Like how much do you spend before it's meaningless, not just to the audience, but to even you.
Right. I'm going to spend 80% more for 20% better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that often is the case with these types of things. However, I think there's a drawback to this, which is like a lot of people don't need it to be modular. Like it's tempting to be like, oh, I need the option for 360 and this setup because like, well, just in case. Right? And this is actually like a flaw of human reasoning where we are often just like, well, I'll buy whatever one has more features, even if they're not the features you want.
Or will ever need.
Or will ever need. And then the thing is like you get a thing with 100 features, it's probably not doing all of those well as one that has 5 features. It's like a restaurant with an infinite menu versus we make pulled pork.
Right.
To eat our sandwich.
Yeah, I like that your specialty restaurant was a pulled pork sandwich.
I never even know. I'm a vegan too, so it doesn't even. I did actually like the boost lens on this
because that was the RS was their first attempt at actually utilizing the whole modular thing, right? Because you could just buy the new brain and still keep your old stuff.
Yeah, your old battery, your old lens,
right?
Whatever.
You could buy the brain and the new boost lens and still use your old battery and still use your old 360 camera.
Yeah.
Again, like was it such a small like they had 6K widescreen?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Who uses that?
Only in widescreen. The image looked really good.
Sure.
But it was an awkward. It was kind of cropped too, right?
Well, it was like a 2x3.5 one kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So it was a really wide screen, not a standard 16:9.
Yeah, I remember that very well.
Right, and it wasn't actually as wide as the ultra wide setting inside the camera in general.
Yeah. So we were talking about this. This is my Hero 12.
Yeah.
And this camera for me, especially now with the Ace Pro, only exists for this, which is the max lens mod.
Now it only exists for this for you.
Yeah, for me. Like if it weren't for this max lens mod, I would have really no purpose for this.
Right.
Because the Ace Pro does everything I need it to, plus lower light benefits. You are going to get log and 10-bit on this, which is great.
Which is not on
the Ace Pro.
Yeah, which is a little bit of a negative.
Yeah, me and some other guys have been pushing Insta360 for a long time. Be like, higher bit rates, give us 10-bit. This is what people want. And my understanding is from their market research, people don't care. I think it's easy when we're in like an online creator bubble to be like, what do you mean? We're talking about this all the time.
Right.
We all care.
Yeah.
We're probably a fraction of a percentage of the actual market buying these cameras.
Yeah.
And so I guess they probably do have to wonder it's a different sensor altogether. It's not just firmware. You actually have to change the architecture of the sensor to allow 10-bit.
Right.
So for them, it's like, are we going to go back to the drawing board, change that out, put it in? Now it's a feature that also we have to explain to our customers, and that's extra resources.
Well, it may also up the price.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm like, I just tell everyone, like, just tell them you want it. Just tell Insta360 that's a feature you're looking for. Right. Because it's really going to be the only way that we end up getting it. It'll happen eventually, right? Like the iPhone's doing it.
Oh, yeah.
You get 10-bit on the iPhone now. I'm hoping for it.
Well, I think if enough of their competition does it.
Well, that's why I thought they were going to do it here, right? Because the Hero 12 and the Osmo Action 4 DJI's model both do 10-bit.
Right.
And I don't know exactly the price points they're all at. They're definitely all similar. It's not like you're spending $80 less for the Ace Pro. It actually might be more expensive.
Yeah. I think the Ace Pro Canadian comes in at $620.
Yeah.
The Ace comes in at $520.
Okay.
But that's GoPro territory. And that's DJI.
Yeah, I think this was like $550 Canadian or something like that. It's probably a bit cheaper for Black Friday or whatever. But
how much does the max lens?
I think it's like an extra 130 or something. So yeah, now you're in there. Oh my gosh, this is my insurance calling again.
Do it. Pick it up.
Take this. The nothing.
Another one of your nothings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you have a Go2. Do you have it on you?
I do have it on me.
That's kind of funny.
There's a Go2.
This is the Go2. We got a Go3 right here with an upside down logo.
Yep.
I always wanted them to take this and make a pro version of it. And I thought it'd be funny to call it the Insta360 Go Pro.
The Go Pro.
Because I like the form factor a lot.
Me too.
And like, especially like having, like, this is a trash stand, but
it works.
It works. You know what? It's better than having nothing and like tilting, that kind of thing. And then the form factor slides in your pocket, whereas you take the Go3, which is a better camera in like all aspects. It's a better image quality. I love having the wireless screen. Great stuff.
For sure.
But it's not really like it's like a lateral upgrade from this. It's not a huge upgrade necessarily.
Yeah. Well, again, it gets you into them cannibalizing their own market, because this comes in at $500 and something.
Yeah.
And the non-pro version of the Ace comes in at $500.
Yeah.
Right, so they're same market, and except for the fact that
and then you add
better quality.
Yeah, like if you go for all three of these, right?
Yeah,
they're not terribly dissimilar cameras and they're not at terribly dissimilar price points, and so I think the real drawback is just consumer confusion.
For sure,
because they all have like 12 features. 7 or 8 of which are shared among all of them, and they each have their own like couple little things. So it's like highest quality, highest price, least modular. Lowest price, maybe? Is it less than that? I'm not even sure.
I'd be real close.
Yeah, that's
real close. They're $500 for the Go3.
Yeah. I mean this one is like, it's a different thing altogether.
You can put that somewhere else and still see it. So it's got remote ability.
Yeah, so what I would have loved to seen is either I want Insta360 to make something like this, like that ultra-wide max lens, because then you can have wild stabilization and be super wide. And for a lot of people who do mountain biking or moto stuff, you get it mounted to your chest. It sucks when you can like just barely see your hands. You really want it to feel like arms wrapping around and like.
I know for me on a motorcycle, a lot of times I end up putting the 360 mod on just for that, but I lose quality. It's harder to edit. It's way more workflow. Yeah.
So if they can either make their version of a max lens for this, or why not use the 1RS thing? You can get I have one down there, like the 1-inch one, right? It had a bigger thing. Like make a cube that has a bigger lens if it needs to. It sticks out like that. That solves that problem. Like, I need ultra wide, but I don't want it to be like sub 1080p or 1080p from a 360 camera because of how much cropping you have to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're at a...
See, that's smart actually, because they haven't done anything modular in a while, and they've released 2 new cameras.
Yeah.
Maybe even more with all the 1-inch versions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my wife is calling for 1 second. Sorry.
That's okay.
Pregnant people borrowing my coats.
Oh, that's nice.
I accidentally bought 2 very large winter coats a couple years ago, and because I couldn't decide on a color, and then I was like, I'll buy them both. I'll return whichever one I like less. I go to return the one I like less, and they're like, no returns. I was like, crap. I was like, whatever. I'll just keep this one, and I'll return it. It's not such a big deal. The other one, no returns. I was like, you absolute moron. Look into these things. So I've just been. This will be the second winter now that it's out on loan to someone who's pregnant, because it's like an enormous trench coat for like winter one. Anyways, yeah, they've grown into such a large company that now they're almost like Apple in that their products are like starting to cannibalize each other. Where like the Apple Watch is like so good you don't need an iPhone, and then the iPhone's like so good you don't need an iPad, and the iPad's like so good you don't need and it's like everything's trying to like cannibalize that way.
Well, and they release so fast too, right? That you almost feel if you buy something new that you're so worried that it's going to be outdated before you even get to play with it.
Yeah, at least with iPhones or like phones, you kind of know September.
That's right.
This is when it's coming, whatever. And you're right, Insta360 is like, this was this summer?
Yep.
This was this fall. This was probably 2 winters ago, actually.
Yeah, I think that was October of 2021 or something like that.
Yeah, and then before these 2 was the X3, and before that was the 1-inch.
Well, that's right.
No, 1-inch was maybe before. I don't know.
Well, the 1-inch came out after this guy.
Yeah, that's right. Right, of course.
Right, because that's the original RS.
Yeah. But I like him. I like that they do things interesting. Yeah. The GoPro, save for this lens,
is the same camera.
Has been the same thing thing. Like, it's just been iterating better and better over the years. You know, when the Hero 12 came out, if you had a 10 or an 11...
I have a 7 at home. It's fine.
I found basically once you got a GoPro with good stabilization...
Which was, I think, the 7. Which
it was around that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The good EIS, whatever they called it.
Yeah, yeah.
Then you're good. At least with Insta360s, like, I think this is an actual, like, quality of life usability improvement.
For sure.
I do, of course, appreciate having a screen on the front just to, like, oh yeah, I'm in the frame, the exposure looks good, I didn't have manual settings and it's all blown out. But while I would be comparing them, I'd have them side by side, like framing them up, I'm looking at them, I'd be like, oh, okay, this one I'll make a bit darker, and I'd change it, and then I'd be like, oh, right, gotta turn this one around, go to the menu, change it,
and then come back.
And then come back and see how it looks on me.
Right.
Because you can't change anything up front. And I guess some people might be worried about this
but I have
being
to
a
say,
point of fail.
playing with it, it's firm.
It is built really firm. Like they've done a great job on the hinge design. Same thing on the Go3, but it's actually stronger here because you have a clip on both sides, so it locks in.
Right.
So if this, like, it's got like no play. If you were to drop it, the hinge isn't going to be the breaking part, and then you do have to intentionally get both of those to use it. But whatever, you could drop it like that, and yeah, maybe break it. But I mean, it's not like nobody's breaking GoPros.
No.
Right? We break them all the time.
Right. So if you were to buy a camera, you had one action camera right now.
Probably the Go3.
Really?
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
Is it just because of your style, that ability to mount it somewhere and see it somewhere else?
Kinda, yeah. Like, I do the wireless ability for sure, but I also just find this has, like, the modular practicality, let's say, of, like, something kind of like this. Like, there's just more things you can do with it.
Right.
Obviously lower quality, definitely lower quality than this. But it's not as cumbersome to work with as a 360 camera. Because 360 cameras, you kind of have to know, like, what's the shot I'm going for? What am I going to do with it in post? If you just shoot all day on a 360 camera, you know what you're going to do.
Where's the stitch line?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, and I mess that up all the time. Right. You're like, oh, it's right through my face. It can fix it, but it's like slightly
a little different than this side.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just find this thing so versatile, and I'm rarely grabbing an action camera because I'm like, quality is my number one, importance. I have FX3 is my main camera, and I have the 14mm 1.8, which is not here.
Sure.
My camera's out on loan with the frame, so it's probably on there. And 14mm is about the size, like this is a 16mm equivalent. So I'm like, if I need a shot that's hyper wide and as good of quality as possible, I'll use that.
Right.
I grab these because I need to put them where other cameras don't fit. Low light, obviously this won't hold a candle to the Ace Pro. I should actually test it against the Hero 12. I'd be really curious to see the difference between those. But then yeah, same thing. This gives you the benefit of, like, I can do vertical, I can do horizontal, I can actually, like, keyframe a little bit of movement. Right. If I screw it up, I can tilt it a bit in post, that kind of thing. That I just find really helpful. And you get more of it on this than this. Because this sensor, I believe, is actually a square.
Right.
Or darn near close. This is 4x3.
One side of a 360 camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whereas this is 4x3. So, like, yes, you can put a 4x3 image, and you can crop vertical out of it, but it's not going to be the same as if you actually just shot it like this.
Yeah, like that camera, because that's a 4K camera, right?
I don't even think it is. I think it's like 2.7 or whatever, yeah. So, but you can actually, like, you can do that.
Horizon lock and all that kind of stuff.
And keep it the same.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, both of these you can put horizon lock on, but they're usually only to about like 30 degrees or something until they're like, I give up. Or they have to be cropped a lot.
Right.
Which is where this comes in. This is so wide, this gives you full 360-degree horizon lock in 4K.
Right.
Which is kind of why I was saying, like, this will exist only for the times I need that, like, crazy good stabilization, probably POV. I want it 4K and wide.
Right.
Because there's probably some clients that I might work for where I could throw in a shot from this. They might prefer it if it's a little higher quality.
Right. Because
I can't get that full width on the Ace Pro yet. Yeah, it's annoying. You know what I mean? There's no one right answer, but if I could have one, it honestly would be the Go3.
Well, you know what? I use the RS. It's probably my main action camera.
Yeah.
But even traveling here to get here today, for the last 3-4 days that I've been traveling, I've shot more stuff with this camera because it's in my pocket.
Yeah.
nobody even bats an eye at me holding it like this.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody sees it.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a camera at all.
It doesn't look like a camera.
Yeah.
If I'm walking it, they think I have AirPods in my hand.
Yeah. You just snap it shut.
Right, and it's just super fast. So I can.
I almost wish, and not almost, I do wish they could have kept a form factor like that. I get that they wanted the screen.
Yeah.
But the unfortunate thing is like this, the like exposed lens.
It sticks out.
Yeah, it's just way more likely like, I don't know, I got to get in 3D printing or something and make like a folding.
Right.
You know, kind of like the screen, but it folds over and just covers that.
Yeah.
But then even so, this is like, it's narrower, right? So it slides. Oh, yeah. This just slides in a pocket like AirPods.
Yeah.
This is meh.
You know, you would know that's in your pocket.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Though I've brought that thinking I had AirPods. Or I brought AirPods thinking I had the camera.
Yeah, so stick that in your ear, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jesse, that's awesome.
Where's the stitch line? It's right between the two cameras. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, somewhere. That'll catch you. Yeah.
Do you have any other... Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this camera.
What is that camera?
I have no idea. I don't know where it came from.
You know, we'll stay recording. I'm going to grab this. When I started doing YouTube stuff, before I had a GoPro, an actual GoPro, I bought SJ Cam 4000 or something like that. You know, it cost me $89 off of Amazon.
Yeah.
And then companies started sending them to me. I must have a bag.
Oh, yeah, just all of these.
These, I must have 40 of them.
Yeah. If you were to do this, I don't know, maybe you have, you know, like wireless microphones, like the...
Oh, yeah.
There's every day there's some new company being like, try our dual...
Yeah, dual mic receiver
transmitter thing, yeah. And I just don't.
I just don't.
Well, like, there's too many of them now.
I know you've made videos on gimbals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And it gets to a point, and I even for me, right?
Yeah.
I don't use gimbals very much because I don't film that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And it gets to a point where like, how much better can you make a gimbal? What are you gonna do to it? It stabilizes my camera, and I have to say though, I did just get one by a company called Hohem.
Yeah, they've sent me many.
With the AI.
Is that Hohem something 6, right?
There's there's MTS, which is their bigger one.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's M6, which is for the phone.
The phone one, yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I've tried both, and that AI...
It's pretty good, huh?
It's snap-on.
Yeah.
Like, it's the whole...
Yeah.
Boom, it's...
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Reminds me. Because I have the Insta360 Flow, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I actually, honestly, do like it. It's nowhere near perfect.
Of course you have a Flow, jeez.
Well, I mean, so like...
But it doesn't...
I just lent this out to someone.
But it really doesn't have to balance or anything, eh?
So, no, you basically put it in. As soon as you turn it on, it's just like as soon as you unfold it, it just turns on and balances, which is really nice. The thing is, the tilt doesn't have a lot of tilt travel.
Gotcha.
And so you can't do like crazy movements. Like I've tried putting this on the end of like a really long selfie stick to try and get like huge crane shots.
And you just can't get the angle.
You just can't quite. You have to like really like try and force it to like avoid that, which isn't ideal. But like all the like conveniences of it, like especially, it just keeps going. You know, it's
well, and honestly, as phones get better and better, that becomes a viable.
Yeah, actually, so I got to see if the Insta360 app will let me shoot in like ProRes log now, because if it would, this would actually be quite handy again.
Yeah,
because it's as good as the what do they call their stabilization now? The action mode. Right. As good as the action mode does work, it always switches to like the wider lens. So if you're on the main lens, which is like super high quality, and you go to action mode, it's now actually using the ultra wide lens and cropping down to main lens amount.
Which means you lose a lot of light.
Yeah, you use a lot of light, and it's trying to crank the shutter. So when I was in France shooting running stuff in a forest, even in good light, I tried to switch to action mode. That footage is so... I've never seen iPhone footage so noisy, and it's just because it was ultra wide, super fast shutter speed, high ISO, and then cropped in like crazy.
Yeah, because you'll get warnings on that mode that says not enough light.
Yeah, I've had people ask me, like, you know, now that iPhones are so good, like, what do you need an action camera for? And it's like, well, the main lens is better image quality than the Ace Pro, the GoPro. It's better image quality than all of those, for sure. But you can't do ultra wide and good stabilization on this. Like, you can only do normal, and even then you're not going to get low light. So if I could shoot vlog on this, you can be stabilized on the ultra wide, at least.
You should try it.
I have too many Insta360 products.
Oh, wow, wow, wow for you. Wow, wow for you.
All right, hey, you can give me that battery charger back.
That's right.
Privilege revoked.